Hey guys, this is Paraguy88, and welcome to Behind the LPs. This video is going to be a little bit different from the other views of the series. You see, it's going to involve a LP series that I unfortunately had to cancel for various reasons, and of course I'll talk to you about them in this video. So, without further ado, the game I'll be talking to you about today will be Tenchi Muyo Gamehead, or just Tenchi Muyo as I'm going to call it in the rest of this video. And this game is for the Super Famicom, which, as we all know, is the Japanese Super Nintendo. And of course, if you didn't know that, well, you do now. So anyway, now I'm going to be talking to you about this mess of a game. But of course, the video style is also the problem. But again, I'll talk to you about that later. I don't want to get ahead of myself. So now I'm going to go ahead and talk to you about the where this game fits in with my LP series, because it's a little weird. It might be a bit complicated. So that needs to be get out of the way first. So to start with, if you actually saw the list of my LPs that I have completed, the 10th LP is actually Custom Robos for the GameCube. And yeah, I actually did finish that game, but you see, I ran into some problems when I started a couple of episodes. Well, basically, I'm going to explain a lot more about this in the Custom Robos Behind the LP video, if it ever gets posted, and if it already has, then you probably want to go see it. But anyway, this is special because I wanted to record the Custom Robo game with the Dazzle, which is a kind of a recording device that allows me to record the footage on the television instead of using an emulator. And it's really cool, but I had problems getting to work with for various reasons. I won't explain too much of the details here. Basically, I only did a couple of episodes. There were problems with it, you could see in the first 2 episodes, but eventually I got through it. But I kind of didn't want to continue, and I wanted to wait until I got a better computer and in a new operating system or something like that, and hopefully the problems with it will eventually get fixed. So I wanted to kind of postpone that series and do, something else to fill in the gap between me getting a new computer and everything. And I was trying to look through some ideas of a game I wanted to do in between, and Tenchi Muyo was something that I could fill in for that. And I was kind of thinking about doing it like something I did with Dragon Ball Z Super Gokuden 2 and do a Japanese Super Nintendo game, but that was translated to English by fans and whatever. So I wanted to go through that, and that's how where Tenchi Muyo came in. Unfortunately, of course, things didn't really work out too well, and of course, again, I'll explain those reasons here in this video about why that is. And then eventually, I completely dropped this game, and I really didn't want to do that, but I did. And then I got back into. Then everything was working for Custom Robots. I got the Dazzle working right or decently. Sometimes, sometimes there were mistakes or whatever, but I got it to work, and I finally completed Custom Robos, and yeah, that and then Custom Robos became the real 10th LP. Well, unfortunately, this game fell into the very back of the shelf, or whatever expression you want to call it, got abandoned. And yeah, that's how that is. So now, in this video, I'm going to talk to you about, what I usually talk about while I was recording, and the chaotic mess that involved in both playing this game and recording this game. There are 2 or both the main problems, and I'll discuss them like I do with the other Behind the LPs. And the first thing I'll talk to you about is my first experience when I discovered this game for the very first time, and what it was like, and probably why I chose it for an LP and all that. So that's what I'll talk to you about next. So let's see. Now I'm going to talk to you about my own personal experience with this game. Now, just like in Super Gokuden 2, if you don't live in Japan, then you probably never heard about this game when it first came out. And that definitely applies to me, because I never heard of it until like a few years later. I don't exactly remember when I played it, but yeah, whenever I played it, I thought it was pretty cool. It's mostly because that I've actually seen Tenchi Muyo, the anime, of course, and I kind of liked it. So I thought it was really good to see a game version of it out there. So yeah, I tried it out, and of course I didn't finish it. I think I kind of stopped around the last area of the game before that, I think. So I never really saw the ending, but I thought it was pretty nice. But then when I actually played it for the LP, yeah, I don't think I think it's not really as good as I thought it was. You see, yeah, this game was translated by, you know, fans and expert hackers and whatever to replace all the Japanese text that were originally there into English, so that way us English-speaking people can be able to understand it. So I thought that was pretty appreciative. Although I have to question the translations a lot, but again, we'll get to that. Oh boy, we will. But yeah, that was my own personal experience. You know, casually when I don't, you know, not really. When I first played it, I thought it was all right, but then now I'm not so sure, and I'll explain that in more detail. Anyway, now the next section I'll talk to you about the goals that what should have happened had I finished, or what I was trying to show, but I don't think I did a good job. So I'll go ahead and talk to you about what the goals were in this video, in this game. Now, as for the goals of this game that I was trying to accomplish, it's kind of like Dragon Ball Z Super Gokuden 2, where I don't really so much interact with the characters as just to go through their story and, you know, just to talk about what happened. Now, also just like in Dragon Ball Z Super Gokuden 2, I don't read the characters' dialogues for those same three reasons. The terrible text, the established voices that I don't feel like trying to emulate, and the swearing. But I'm granted the swearing really isn't as bad as it is in that game, but I still don't feel like going through it. But those three weren't the real highly contributing things about why I didn't want to read the text. It's mostly also I don't really feel like reading the text. I just kind of didn't want to that time. So yeah, it's just those reasons. So nothing really too much on the entertainment. Now, as for the game's goals and whatever is, I believe it goes like this. Now, yeah, this is, by the way, I think it's a made-up thing for the game and not anything to do with the anime. So there's the characters that are not that were only made for the game, like the dancing girl, which I'm not going to refer by a real name. I'm still not going to. And I think Kasumi, or whatever her name was, I think she's the final boss or something. Well, she's one of the bosses in the game. Anyway, so yeah, in this game, the story for this game goes like this: Tenchi, the main hero, Ryoko, the space power woman with the silver hair, Ayeka, I think she's a princess or something, and Mahoshi, a blundering, stupid police woman or something. Yeah, we're all sitting inside Tenchi's house, and then Sasami, I believe, is Ayeka's little sister, and Ryoki, rabbit alien thing that Ryoko has. They came into the room, and then all of a sudden, the dancing girl that I explained, the one with the green hair in the game box or whatever, and dancing around in the opening. That's why I call her the dancing girl, by the way. But whatever. So they basically kidnap Sasami, and we have to go and save her. That's the kind of what happens in the first half of the game. The other half, we have to go save Ryoko after we beat the dancing girl and the Kasumi woman. Well, yeah, this is after they invaded the spaceship. Sorry if I'm getting the offense out of order, but yeah, when they entered the spaceship, we defeated the dancing girl, say Sasami. But now that Kasumi woman, the one of the bosses, kidnapped Ryoko and took her to the moon, so we go to save her. And yeah, that's pretty much where I stopped. Yeah, I don't know what happens after we actually get to the moon to save Ryoko, but yeah, that's basically how the game story goes. I think that's all there is to this game. It's not very long, I believe. So, yeah. But what I try to train all the characters to the highest level, or I did overtrain a lot. So, getting through the enemy battle was not too challenging after a while. But I'll explain that a little more in another section. So yeah, that's what the goal is. Just simply get through it. You know, just like a simple RPG. You know, I tend to over level and stuff like that, and just go through and blast everything to Kingdom Come. Yeah, you know, just destroy everything and to save people. That's basically what I do here, and that's what I was trying to accomplish. But really, it's not that hard of a game to go through yourself. I remember it when I first played it being kind of easy. You know, just like Dragon Ball Z Super Goku 2, but, you know, not that, I don't know, whatever. Okay, so we're done with the goals of this game. So yeah, we might as well just go ahead and go over to our next topic, which is the recording setup, and the main contributing factor of why I stopped making making videos for this LP. You know, one of the reasons. Anyway, so yeah, the setup for it is pretty simple. Just I did the same thing I with my other Super Nintendo games. I used CNES, which is pretty good and reliable. Also, I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure I used Cam Studio, and I don't remember it giving me any trouble. It probably did, but, you know, I think probably at that point, I think I got things figured out. Yeah, so I think I used Cam Studio again. And then I used Windows Movie Maker again for the editing. Now, the main issue of the recording setup is the microphone setup. Now, eventually, whenever I posted the Dragon Warrior Monsters LP, or if I already did, you can look at it again. Now, I talked about that at the very end of that series, I switched up my audio setup. Instead of using a headset microphone like I normally do, I end up using a microphone. And I thought that microphones were better, and I thought I sounded pretty good in there. So that's what I used for a few other LPs afterwards, like a little bit of Custom Robos, Tenchi Muyo, and I believe like at the very first couple episodes of Advance Wars 2 Black Hole Rising. Now, unfortunately, with me and microphones, it just mix. We don't mix very well. For some reason, my microphones end up not working very well after a while. It especially prevalent whenever I was doing Tenchi Muyo, because eventually I get like this staticky noise every time I try to listen back whenever I make the commentaries, and it's like something wrong with my microphone and I wasn't sure. So I end up buying like 3 or 4 different microphones throughout my entire use of microphones for my LPs, and none of them worked at all. So eventually I switched over to headset microphones again, and that actually in Custom Robos I use my computer microphone, which is decent but not good. So eventually I move on to headset microphone again. So yeah, that's what I use for now on. Again, and I just completely lost faith in all microphones. Maybe it's because I buy cheap microphones like $10 or something. Best Buy, I think, is, I know that they're probably not the best microphones, and I don't know. Maybe I could probably have to look up how I don't know how people will get good microphones. But the one I used for Dragon Warriors Monsters was pretty good, and it worked very well at the very end, and I kind of liked it. But I don't know why every microphone I have is broken. But yeah, basically that's what I couldn't stand the staticky terribleness of the microphone in Tenchi Muyo, and then eventually I just ultimately gave up and just stopped playing. It's just stopped doing this LP and just scrapped it. And then I told myself when I did Custom Robos again, I did not get a microphone, it just used the computer microphone. So yeah, there's that. And that's kind of sad about how that happens. But like I said, the microphone stuff is only the half of the reason why I stopped playing. The other half is I'm gonna go ahead and get to. Now the next section, I really didn't have a good experience playing this game, so instead of going to the like section, I'm gonna do the dislike section first before I get to the like section, because I really want to air out some of my frustrations with this game, just like I did with Dragon Ball Z Super Goku 2. So yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and do the dislike section first, and I hope I probably might get into another rant mode again, so I hope that doesn't happen, but it might, just to warn you. So yeah, let's go ahead and go on to the next section, which is the dislike section of this game. Okay, so the dislike section. Now, It's kind of hard to know where to start describing all the things that annoy me and about how. Sorry. Okay, I'm glad. Okay, sorry, I just keep thinking about all those annoying, frustrating, and tedious, stupid moments in this game. Okay, sorry, alright, let's. But now, I figured out how I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna take you back to when I first loaded up the game and just, have you all experience what I did, what I played through, and, as I talked about it, that way maybe that would get the message across. Okay, so basically, I load up the game. Everything is alright. It's just as I remembered it, with Ryoki running around until you push start and doing weird things. And then, of course, the game starts up. And then, one of the first thing I noticed is, eventually I'll notice is some of the text. Yeah, just like in Dragon Ball Z Super Goku 2, some of the text can be difficult to read, and in some levels, literally unreadable. They're just terrible. Now, I thought about a little bit of what I said and when I mean about why I said the translations were bad, and I think I've there's a misunderstanding there. You see, what I mean is that I don't think the translations are actually bad. I don't know. I have extremely limited knowledge of Japanese, so I know I can't be able to actually translate anything. So whoever actually did the translations, the fan translations, I'm sure they did their best and they did a good job, and it's translated to the best of their abilities. I think what I meant to say is that some of the width of the text, like the text how they're presented to the screen and translated, they don't look very good, and it's very hard to read sometimes. And also, like I already mentioned this in Dragon Ball Z Super Goku 2, where I know the people who were trying to put the English text in the game, they did their best with the screen limitations, and the best they could. So, I don't mean the translations of it is actually bad. I don't really know it myself. I meant that the text is in the ways that can't be read very easily, and sometimes you don't know what they were saying. Now, what I mean about why the text isn't good or isn't presented well is because in this game, sometimes the right side of the text can be cut off, and you don't know what the people just said. So that happens in some places, and then in like a couple of spots in the game, all the words gets jumbled together, and where you literally can't read what it says. It's just a wall of text. And don't even try to push, I think, start or select or something when you get into battle, because there's some information about the characters or something, and then you don't want to go there. It's unreadable there as well. So yeah, I don't know if it's because I picked up an old version of the translations, or I don't know, but I don't remember the text being like that. I didn't remember it being that much of a problem, but I don't know, when I'm trying to read, I'll try to read it. It's when I'm doing the LP, I don't know, I noticed it, and it's not good, and I can't read what they're saying. I know sometimes you don't care about these things, but I would appreciate it if it wasn't cut off and I could understand them. And I know the people who hacked the game did their best. I don't know. Whatever. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, now after we get to try to read everything to the best of our ability sometimes, now we actually get into the combat system of the game. Now, I don't know if I'm doing a good job of describing it, but it's basically like a tactical battles where you will move around like a isotopic view, where you you all take turns trying to move to a certain square, and each of your attack has different ranges in the square or something like that. I'm sorry if I am not very good at describing this battle system, but I think like something like Final Fantasy Tactics. I think of it like that, something like that. That's pretty much I think how the battle system works. So yeah. Uh, and then the battle system there frustrates me a little bit. They got there's something they got right there, but then there's some like the enemies go first. Alright, the enemies goes multiples of times though, and I'm not sure why. It really annoyed me that the enemies go more than once, and I was wondering when my turn is ever gonna come up. I don't know. Maybe I was too weak to go faster, or who knows why. I just think it was stupid. Oh yes, and then after you get through the first two fights in the game, then you get into this character select the where you get to pick where you want to go next, basically, and you have to go on certain paths. Now, every time you go to another area of the game and you select that part of the map where you want to go, you always get into a fight. Yes, that I really mean it too. Everywhere you go, you always have to fight somebody. Okay, luckily in the end, sometimes you get a new character in some of these fights, but no. But yeah, basically, even if you don't have, sometimes in this game you have to go backwards, and still you have to go into a fight. Here, I'm gonna see if I can explain it here. Okay, so you start out in Tenchi's house, and then you have an option to either go to the gardens where you can get Ryuoki. You go over to the hot springs to get Tenchi's grandpa, or you could go to Mahoshi's ship. You know, and that's probably the center point of the area. So if you like go over to, in order to go to Mahoshi's ship, which leads over to more areas, you have to, I think, go to either the gardens or the hot springs. So if you go over to the gardens, you have to fight somebody, of course, and then you go to Mahoshi's ship. Then you have to fight somebody. Then you go to the next area where you also have to fight somebody, and then eventually there is another companion if you want to get them or something in Mahoshi's ship, which I recommend you don't. But if for some reason you do, and then you want to go back to Mahoshi's ship again, you would think that you don't have to fight anybody because you already did. But no, you have to fight somebody. It's very tedious and also very annoying. Basically, it's like the opposite problem of Dragon Ball Z Super Goku 2. You see, in that game, there's not a lot of fights in that game, and you have to go through a lot of text and screens moving and not much happening. But here in Tenchi Muyo, you always get into a fight. There's hardly any place where you could just stop and and read or anything, or I don't know. You just everywhere you go, you just have to go into these RPG fights, and it's very tedious. It's probably alright if you want to level up, but if you want to advance through the game, you just have to trudge through all those fights and oh my lord. Oh, and not only do you have to fight, and worse than that, of course, you always have to go into fights. There are also recolored enemies, and I detect the hits of laziness within it about recolored enemies that we could easily destroy and everything. Of course, if you're strong, though, you can easily get through some of these fights very quickly, but still, it's very annoying. And of course, and after all that time, I only got it to one boss, and that's that boss I mentioned, that woman that kidnaps Ryuoki. Yeah, so far that's the only boss I fought in the entire game, and I don't know. I think and when you get to the moon, there probably are more bosses, but probably just a couple. So yeah, there's like hardly any bosses in this game that I know of. Oh man. Okay, I don't know. I'm done. I think that's all I really have to say in the matter. But I'm not. But this game has a lot more good qualities than Dragon Ball Z Super Goku 2 does. So I'm gonna go ahead and just skip over to the like section because I think that's all I dislike about it. Basically, it's just annoying fights where you have to do nothing but fight, and yeah, recall enemies and terrible text. Yeah. So whatever. Okay, I'm done. Let's just move on to the like section now, because this topic is gone for way too long. So let's just get on with it. Okay, so now I'm going to actually say some positive things about this game. So now let's get on. Let's go back over to the battle system again. Now I like this battle system way more than Dragon Ball Z Super Goku N 2's battle system. Yeah, of course, obviously it feels more have more of a strategical element than Dragon Ball Z does, because all that game does is just basically a glorified paper rock scissors game where you will, mostly find a way to mostly breeze through everything. But here, obviously, it's more game-like, and where you can be able to do a lot more things and everything. And also, in this game, you also get to transform as well if you get a certain number of Power Orb MP things, and the battle animations are awesome. I really enjoyed some of those, especially Ryoki's carrot raining attack. I don't remember what it's called, but he basically rained down carrots, and then the monster just blow up or gets destroyed. Yeah, I overtrained Ryoki a lot, but yeah, her attacks are awesome. I like those, and Tenchi Muyo's Tenchi's attacks are cool. Ryoki's and everyone else's are also cool, and I basically like that concept of transformations, and all the battle animations were amazing. So that's good. Now let's see, what else do I like? I guess they faithfully capture all the characters' attitudes and everything, which is good. I don't remember a lot about Tenchi Muyo. I haven't watched it in years, but I do remember a little bit of Ryoki, and Ayaka trying to fight for Tenchi's affection, and they do it a lot here, so that you can imagine that's humorous. Of course, if you could be able to read what's going on, then then you would probably understand it more. Or if you ever watch the show, then you would understand what's going on there. So yeah, that's good. I can't really think of anything too much in my mind, but basically, I kinda like this game because it feels a lot more of a game to me than Dragon Ball Z Super Goku N 2 does. Again, not that showing lots of text is a bad thing. I kinda like it sometimes, but I don't know. It's just so aggravating in Dragon Ball Z Super N 2. But I don't know. This game, but the fact that you have to fight a crap load of enemies everywhere you go kind of undermines some of the goodness of some of the systems. Like, you've seen all the same attack animation 100 billion times because you have to use it against all the monsters you fight every time you go to another area. So it kind of gets stale after a while. But then there's some things like, no, I'm not going to say destruction the way I usually do, but you know what I mean. But yeah, seeing things blow up is basically it'll never get old, that's what I'm saying. Okay, so, I'm sorry, I thought I could say a lot more things I like, but just something about this game I like. I basically like this game better than Dragon Ball Z Super Goku 2, but not by much. Okay, and I don't know, it's just basically just this whole annoying instances and stuff, everything just basically, and of course the microphone problem just ultimately just caused me to just give up on this game. I have to say, I can't believe I have to say I gave up on it, and I haven't gone back to it since. So yeah, okay, so that's what I like and dislike about this game. It's really not as bad as I thought it was, but it's just still disappointing, and I was hoping it probably could have been better. Oh well. Anyway, so the problems, of course, I already described all the problems, recording wise. So yeah, I guess we don't have to talk about that too much. And then now, there in the improvement section, I'll talk about that now. The most important thing in the improvement section is, and that I don't know if people have in their minds, but that I've been wondering, will I ever go back and complete this game? just go on and try just finish it and make it a actual main line of the LPs that I've completed? That's a kind of a hard question for me. You see, it all determines whether I want to either scrap the entire thing or just go where I left off. Now, if I go on where I left off, that's going to meet a large leap of inconsistencies going from extremely terrible quality to the quality that I have now. It's not really that much of a bad thing. It's just I kind of wish I could go. The ones from the earlier episodes were so awful that I kind of wish I could go back and redo them. But that would mean that I have to start the entire game all over again, having to train and having to go into the aggravating battles that I didn't like to go through to begin with. So I don't know. I'm still I'm wondering if I have to just scrap the whole game and start over from scratch and everything, or I could just go back to where I left off and just finish the game wherever I was and get to the moon in the final level. Now, I think I probably, if I had to choose, I think I'd just scrap the entire thing and start over because, I just hate to have to leave quality like the bad episodes still in there, and I don't know, it's just don't need to be in there anymore. So, if I had to, I think I'd just scrap the entire thing and start over. That'd probably be a good idea. But that depends if I actually want to go through it or not. That kind of mostly depends if you want me to. If you people want me to go through this game and, I don't know, if you really, really want to see an LP of me doing an LP of this game, basically, just, send me a comment and I'll put it into a lot of consideration. I'll most likely do with enough people want me to. Of course, I have a lot of other games that I really prefer to do and should do, but if enough people ask me for it, I'll go ahead and find some place for it and I'll do the entire game over again. I probably would do a lot. I know I would definitely do a lot better. No static noises in the background, and hopefully the audio quality would be a whole lot better if I did this over again. Of course, the game's still not going to improve, and I have to, train again. But of course, I'll just have to suck it up and get through it. So, if you guys want me to really do an LP of this game, and you want me to finish what I started, just go ahead and leave a comment. If enough people say something about it, then I'll go ahead and find some place in my LP to do it. And that's pretty much it for this improvement section. Now, anything for, let's see, any extra information? Not that I know of. Not really. Okay, since I didn't finish the game, of course, I didn't get anything for it, no rewards yet because I didn't finish it. So, yeah, that's about it. I'm sorry. I'm just going to go ahead and end this off here. I've talked for over 30 minutes, mostly about how much I didn't like the game and how much I didn't like the game and how much I screwed up audio wise. But yeah, I feel like a complete failure not finishing it, and I feel very, very bad. But I just couldn't stand it anymore and just close it off. I did other games. Oh man, it makes me. I know I made a lot of mistakes before my LPs, especially started out, but this is probably one of the biggest travesties that I've ever did in my LP making career. So hopefully I'll make up for it some other time in my life. I'm not sure when, or if people care enough. I don't know, but who knows? I might grab this game from the shelf, dust it off, and play it again. We'll see. I don't know what the future will hold, but we'll see. That's all I have to say about this game. And thank you all for listening and putting up with my ranting for a very long time. I know you guys probably are sick of me repeating a lot of things, but I just can't stand it. This game is such a disappointment. I mean, it's not that big of a disappointment, but I know it has a potential to be better. I just know it. And I'm also sorry for the Tenchi Muyo fans that likes this game, or I don't know, that likes Tenchi Muyo in general. I still like Tenchi Muyo a little bit. I just haven't watched it. But I hope I didn't offend anybody by saying that I don't like this game as much as as much as I did a long time ago. I hope I didn't offend anybody. Okay, I'm done. Okay, so that's the end of this behind the LP. Thank you all for listening, and I hope you see all my other behind the LPs and my other LP in general and all my other videos. That's it. Okay, this is Paraguy 8, and I'll see you guys later. Alright, bye guys.